Okay, now you can see that I've got a question up here, and it says a salesman sells lollies for 80 cents each but buys them for 20 cents each. If his fixed costs, example petrol and admin fees, are $100 per week, so which means if he sells nothing, he's still going to have to pay $100 a week. Draw a graph to represent his profits. Now, the way you attack this question is quite simply this. For him to make a profit, he needs to sell lollies and also take away his fixed costs. Now already we are starting to produce a equation. Now I'm going to let the I'm going to let the profit be our y value on a graph, and then selling our lollies. So if he sells one lollies, that would be 60 cents. Of course, it costs him 80 cents to sell. Sorry, he makes 80 cents when he sells them, but it costs him 20 cents. So he's actually making 60 cents profit per lolly. So if he sells one lolly, that's 60 cents. If he sells two lollies, that's $1.20. So 3 lollies, $1.80. So when he sells his lollies, he's making 60 cents, which is 0.6 of a dollar, for every lolly he sells. But then he's got to take away his fixed costs. So there we now have an equation which we can graph. Now, when you graph this equation, I'll just go make a new page here somehow. I just got to remember how to do it. Yep, here we go. When we graph this equation, remembering it is y equals 0.6 x take 100. And remember the 0.6 is his profit per can, and that there was his fixed cost. So if you go to your Desmos and draw the graph and put that equation, it'll be very quick and simple. But haven't got Desmos here, so I'm going to make a table of data. Okay, and I'm just going to make a simple table where I'm going to put some X numbers in and some Y numbers. X, Y. And I'm going to use the numbers 100, 200, 300, and 400. Now, if I put 100 into that equation for X, I get 60 take 100 minus 40. So in other words, if he sells 100 lollies, he's going to make a loss. 200 lollies into that equation, and he makes a $20 profit. 300 lollies, he'll make an $80 profit, and 400 lollies, he will make, let's see, $120 profit. So now, if I put these values on my graph, 100, 200, 300, 400, okay, and up the side, oh, here we go, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, negative 20, negative 40, just bear with me. And I plot these points. So I'm going to change colours for this. I'm going to make a nice red colour because I like red. 100, negative 40 there. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Right. 200 at 20, 300 at 80, and 400 at $1.20 and 120. And you will notice that I have got a straight line. Now, if I was using a ruler, it would be really straight. Now, it does tell me a few things. For example, this part right here is really important. It indicates to me, should be some arrows in here, it's my X and it's my Y. It indicates to me when he starts to make a profit. Or in other words, when, I'll write this down here, y would equal 0, you can therefore work out what the x value is. So that the yellow circle part indicates where he starts to make a profit, or how many cans does he need to sell enable to do that. So the easy way to do it by looking at your graph, if your graph's not accurately, but if not, you can then you could do this if you wanted to. You could say, well, let's see, we know that y equals 0.6x minus 100, and we know when he makes a 0 profit, y has to equal 0. So we know 100 must equal 0.6x. 100 divided by 0.6 must equal x. And that is going to give us, if anyone would like to have a guess, and I'm hearing no responses. Yes, no, yes, no, no, yes. Well, the answer should be 100 and... anyone like to guess? Anyone going to guess? No one's guessed, have they? 166.6. Now that doesn't make any sense, so therefore in this situation needs to sell 167 cans. Oh, it's not cans. We're not talking about soft drink. We're talking about lollies. Sorry if I've confused you. Now, therefore, when I go back to my graph, that number there represents 167. This part of the graph here, indicates, well, in fact, I'm going to go backwards a little bit. This part of the graph there indicates his losses. This part of the graph makes no sense because you can't have a negative set of lolly values, because these values here are negative numbers, which means they are indicating negative numbers of lollies. Doesn't happen. So we'd say this section here is limiting the model. In other words, we can't use that part of the model. We can use from here all the way upwards. That part of the model makes sense. You can make a loss, so in other words, that part there is a loss. This part here is your profit. I hope this makes sense so far. So you guys can have a try of question 4 on page 122 now.